Hello from the children of planet Earth. Hello from the children of planet Earth.
I'm in. You're in now. The people can hear you. We full screen in this bitch.
Full screen.
I got my super juice. We live, boy. Yes, sir. What is up, my hot girls? What is up, my Treesh boys? Is the main Treesh boy here again with my homie Chris on the mic.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna be tuning in. We're chilling here for like, I don't know. The plan is an hour. The actual plan is 2 hours. But we locked in, son. What's good with you? How you living right now?
Chilling, quarantining, locking in.
There we go.
Really it.
The fuck you got quarantine for?
At the school I go to, we live in like living communities, and one person in that like community got COVID, so like we all had to go.
See, that shit's whack. See, that would kill my whole.
I'm negative, and they were like, "Nah, never mind." So here I am, but like I got time to do my thing, you know.
Nah, I'm fucking with it. I'm fucking with it. Niggas out here, everybody trying to make a come up. Feel me? I had Luke on here the other day. He was chilling. I'm
Shit, I
trying to
saw
see
that.
what the fuck that boy's doing. Cause you know, what is it? You know, this one nigga, what is it? Rich Vocals on the IG. That nigga was talking about Upstate is up right now. I'm like, fuck it. Everybody trying to come right now. I'm trying to do my shits with this camera. Luke trying to do his shits with his rapping. You trying to do your shits with that producing shit. It's all valid. Why aren't you gonna go to new school for your
Yeah,
shits?
in the fall I'm going to Middle Tennessee State.
What's the story with that? What happened?
That I'm going there for sound recording technology. So here it's classical guitar up in Syracuse, and then in Tennessee it'll be sound recording. I just like decided to make that change because it was like something that I could see myself doing longer term than, you know, because it's like classical guitar, it's not just guitar. So have you do all this like extra stuff and like I've got one sitting right next to me, but like it's not the same. So
Yeah,
I was
show
like,
it off, bro.
I was like, I want to be behind the booth, you know?
Yeah, not show off the guitar though. It's
Show off
clean.
the guitar.
I fucks with it. Yeah.
Yeah. It is the new baby, my Martin Dreadnought Jr.
Fucks with it.
Yeah.
Nah, but the thing is like, you know, you said that's what you feel like you're gonna do in the long term, right? So like, what you doing now, bro?
Right now,
Like, who you getting in the booth and all this shit? Cause I know you work with Luke, but who you trying to get in with right now?
Shout out my boy Omski. If he peeps this, I've been working with him. We've been sending beats all over the place. I've been pulling stems for people, you know, just doing mixes, just sending them out, like just one customer. No one that I've really locked in with, really, except Omski though.
Is it more like mixing, or is it like, you know, you're making the beats, you're, you know, the whole shebang? You got people recording?
Like with Omski, like I brought my guitar in, and yeah, big shout out Omski actually, because one of the songs that we did is going to be the first track on this next album. He just dropped a single, Kids Next Door, that's going crazy right now. So, you know, peep that, shout that out. But like I did a guitar loop. I was just messing around on the guitar, and they're like, put that in the beat. And like all I planned on doing was mixing, so it's just kind of like how the flow of the session goes. Really depends on play if I don't.
Do you always bring your guitar with you for recordings?
Yeah.
See, so that's different because like
sometimes I use it to find out the key for auto tune. Sometimes, like if nothing tells me, I'll just like play it and figure it.
That's sick because I remember when Oh My dropped that shit that you did with Luke, you use your guitar with that too. You use your guitar a lot, really.
Yeah, because that's a part of me. That's what like I feel makes me stand out. But at the same time, even if it didn't make me stand out, I'd still do it.
Yeah, but that's like your little calling sign, you know, to be like, yo, Chris did this. You feel me? Like I really fucks with it, and it gives like a different type of vibe. You feel me? It gives me like Lil Wayne vibes. Remember how he learned how to play guitar for what is it, How to Love? I remember I watched something else. It was like him explaining, like he had like his old like teacher from school or some shit teach him how to play the guitar just for like certain like riffs or like that one song. And I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. But that's sort of like with like you too, like that's like a little thing that like adds, you know, like your little flavor, little spice, little icing on top. Yeah. A little icing on top.
Yeah, because I've been doing like rock rap like fusion type of stuff. Because like I saw this video, I don't know what producer it was, but he like opened my mind up to this. He was in the studio like mixing, mastering, like big, you know, industry studio, and he just like whipped out his like Ibanez Prestige and like soloed over the song and like shredded like I do like alone. That's like stuff I do. And then he just did it like for his clients, like over the top of the song, and they were like, nah, lay that in actually. And that like gave me the idea. Like when I went in with Omski, I did the guitar loop, and then after the whole song was done, I was just like, you know what? I put like an amp into my interface, and was just like, let's like do some taps, some stuff like that, and see how it sounds. And it actually came out like pretty way better than I thought that it would.
When's that shit dropping, or has it dropped already?
Summertime.
Dang. Is it late summer, midsummer, or it's early summer?
Shout out my boy Sherelle too, the producer for that session.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's fire though. Nah, I'm fucking with it. Fucking. I just cause. How do I say this? When you listen to your catalog, right? Cause I've been listening to it since like when you were on 13.
Yeah.
And you're at what? You're like in the hundreds now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm far past 200-300s.
Yeah. I remember I got 13 on my phone. I think I got like 7 on my phone, I think.
It was named like Tay's Podcast.
Yeah. But there was one before that. That it was just like it was like a different sound, right? And then when you listen like from like then all the way like to now, by the way, all the beats and the shit that's playing throughout the entirety of the stream, that's all my boy Chris. But you could tell it's completely different. The quality of it is different. The angle you come at is different. It's all like a major upgrade, which is like, nice to see. Like from beginning to now that there's been obvious progress, which is like something that a lot of people don't do. A lot of people, when they start doing certain creative things or they start trying to do their craft, there's always like a point they hit and like plateau and like there's a ceiling that they can't get through. But like from listening to your shit for like so long, like how long? What, 3-4 years?
Oh yeah, easy.
You can see that like, there's never really been a point where like there's like a plateau. There's always like something different. There's always like, they're trying to look at it from a new angle, which is nice.
Because it's like when I was like starting out making beats, it was like, you remember I was only listening to Migos, and I wanted beats just like DJ Darrell and Quavo when he started making beats, and like Murda, like all those guys. That's like where I
London.
started. Yeah, London, of course. Can't forget about Molly Raw. Like that's what I was like trying to do. And then as I like evolved with my listening, it opened up like different ideas, because sometimes I feel like people stay on one thing too long. And that's where I feel like you could hit that plateau, because it's like, okay, I can make a beat like DJ Darrell, but now it's at the point where it is like DJ Darrell, and it's like,
it's not
well,
you.
Now that's all you do, and you just sound like DJ Darrell. So it's like, I want to sound like Chris.
Exactly. That's the big thing too. Like now when I look on Instagram, I'm always looking and going down my feed. Like when you look at bars, right? They was like trying to talk about who's up next, but they're always saying like who that person is like who does this guy sound like?
Yeah,
who does this guy rap like? You don't want to sound like someone else. You don't want to rap like someone else. You want to do you.
Yeah.
Let me get a sip of this super juice. I can't not, bro.
Bro, I wish I had the super juice.
Big agua. Big Poland Springs over there. No ad. I did not get paid. They did not pay me.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Nah, actually, what? Speaking of bars and like niggas who are coming up next, what do you think about the game right now? What's the state of the game?
State of the game?
Yeah, what's the state of the game?
I feel like it's moving more than people think it is. People come up in the IG comments and it's like, oh, the baby released a new track. Oh, it's the same flow. No, it's a little different. I don't think people are really listening, because like the masses don't listen to the music. That's like a music lover's thing. So it's like, while I was driving today, I heard Blind. I think it's the Baby and Young Thug, and they just keep playing that over and over again on Sirius XM. And it's like the stuff that I hear that is coming on there that's new, either immediately goes away or like it's pushing a little bit. Like Franchise with Travis and MIA. That song I feel like is like a step to push. Like some of the big stuff is a step to push. Megan Thee Stallion, it's all stuff to like move us forward a little bit. Doja Cat, Billy.
See, the thing is though, I don't know. It's sort of like I feel like the game. We're in. It's like in a weird place. Like
Because
I
it's
feel.
almost stagnant, but there's like the top 5 probably of the game, like on the billboard, that are actually moving it, and everyone else is just kind of supplementing.
Yeah. I don't know. You said Meg Thee Stallion. I don't know if Meg is really pushing
She
it.
be well, she be pushing it for female rappers, like showing that off. Of
Yeah.
course, that's like a big part of it, but like the way that she hits stuff is pretty different, or
Yeah.
at least it catches my ear.
I mean, yeah, you can listen to her or bump that shit at a party, but it's just like at a certain point, people are like,
It's pushing like party music genre, like party.
yeah.
rap.
Because my concern with the game right now, right, is right now I feel like we're losing a lot of people that got like shit to say.
Yeah.
Hold on, can you put your headphones on? I just realized that your shit. Or just move it away from the mic.
Got you. Probably popped out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I was saying, like with Meg Thee Stallion and all those people, some of them like don't really got like no real shit to say. Like everyone like shits on Rod Wave, right? They don't like shit on him.
He's spitting.
Yeah, but no, okay, no, let me just call it how it is. Niggas be shitting on Rod Wave, right? But he dropped like an album, was it yesterday or like 2 days ago? And he was snapping and spitting and like telling stories and like really like saying what he got to say from the heart. And people was really shitting on him. You feel me? And like it's crazy to me that like people don't really like want to like hear like no stories. People don't want to hear like no substantial shit. Because I'm like, yeah, Meg Thee Stallion spits, but what she's spitting about? It's the same regular dagala, my pussy talk, my
like,
pussy wet.
I was like meaning it like in the industry rap genre, not like the people that got stuff to say, because they move in it in the background too, like J. Cole, Cordae, Cudi, like they're still doing stuff.
Yeah. Nobody talks about Cordae no more. Just because he doesn't drop a freestyle every once in a while, people try not to like talk about him no more. But that nigga be spitting. He got some shit to say.
Yeah, like J. Cole recently entered my listening schedule just because like some of those beats, like from producers, we listen to stuff way differently than like the masses listen to it. That's why like my opinion on it's always going to be different, because we don't really listen to the lyrics first. We're listening to, you know, how do they do
the
that?
quality of it.
How hard does that bass hit? Like you can hear like what compressors people are using sometimes. Like everyone and their mother uses a LA2A on their drums. Like we can hear that stuff, and it's like you can hear like when people pop out. Like I don't mean it to like call him out, but like CJ, like when he dropped Whoop-Dee, and I was like, he had songs before that, but like he got picked up as like an industry plant, and you could hear like I was talking about it with some people in Alex Tumey's Discord channel. Like we were talking about Whoop-Dee because we were like, that song showed up out of nowhere. The artist showed up like seemingly out of nowhere. He had a small following, but like he popped out and got signed to like a big label and stuff like that through like a minor label. And then the quality was just so insane that they were like, yeah, he's being put on by like industry people, because like no, it was recorded with a Sony C800G. It's like a $30,000 microphone. And you can just
that's no little boy shit. That's no middle of the mall shit.
How crispy it is, yeah. But like when Boogie was first coming up, like people that built it, like Boogie, back then it was like you could hear from like I think it was Animal by A Boogie and Drowning, the quality difference between that and like Blood on My Denim. The people that build it is different than the people that jump up to it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, casual listeners, like,
will listen to that more. The first thing, they will listen to the best of the best sounding first,
because they're spoiled.
It appeals to the ear.
No, to me, I think like they're spoiled. They're spoiled by the radio, because all the radio plays is the highest of the highest quality, You know,
Yeah.
nothing falters. You know, they spoiled
Some of
by.
that dungeon shit is what they don't be hearing, and that's where the listeners come in. The people
Mm-hmm.
that are actually like, yo, he's saying that, you know.
That's sort of like when Luke was on here the other day, he was talking about Jack Harlow's popping. What's popping?
Yeah.
He really was saying some shit in the background, but the thing is, it just sounded nice, so that's why people fuck with it.
Yeah.
And
And
people
then
can,
the listeners
you know what's
are like,
crazy too?
talking
People can
about
listen
it.
to shit and like know the lyrics and say that shit and rap along and still not know what the fuck is going on in the song.
Yeah. No, like, no offense, Luke. Like, it takes me like a long time to actually memorize like what you're saying, because it's like I'm not like when producers are like sitting in the studio, we're not really listening to that. Especially like a mix engineer, a producer more so would listen to it, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm more so like a mix master engineer.
Yeah.
So it's like producers listening to everything, how everything interacts. All that I'm really doing is like, you know, making sure everything is perfect on like
Yeah.
a technical scale, and that's what I like enjoy doing. So like when I was in the studio with Omsky, Sharel was like the guy calling the shots in the studio, and he tracked them. But then like when it was time to mix, like I came out. Like that's how I like to do it now.
All right, so since you got so much stuff to like listen to, you know, when people are recording and they're like, you know, they're singing or rapping or whatever it is they're doing, how do you know when it's heat? How do you know that
If it
when they
breaks, like if I'm in my process, because I've got my workflow like pretty down pat. And
Mhm.
if like the song breaks through my workflow, and I'm like, because like I never really bop my head or anything like while I'm mixing, I'm really just listening to things. But if I start being like if I start feeling it, then if it breaks through that, then I'm like, no, this is crazy. Like this is
that's how you know you really got it. Because you know
Yeah.
was weird sometimes too. Like, you know, with people coming up or like trying to get more followers and, you know, trying to get more listeners and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think it's hard to know like when something is good, because think about like all these like rappers right now, right, that were up. Look how long they went under the radar. Like, you know, what did it take for them to like be one of the greats? What did it take for them to be like good? Like, you know what I mean?
It's not just like this, but like most people are like, oh, it's the song. That song certified them, and everything after that was heat. But it's like I feel like it's more like the style that they have coming up to that song. Because then you listen to that song and you listen to some of the older stuff of like whoever it is. I don't know. Boogie feels like that for me. Like when I started listening to Boogie, of course, like I heard Drowning first. But then like you go back in his discography a little bit, and then he drops an album right after the Heat, and you're like, oh, this is the new Boogie, like
Yeah.
like artist 2.0.
What is it? You know who I'm like that for? The baby. When the baby dropped, I was like, this nigga spitting. But then I went back, I listened to his old shit. Like
Yeah, I
fucking
did that too. Yeah.
like, have you heard Off Top by the baby? I forget what album it's on.
Is it the orange one where he's wearing the Charlotte jersey?
Nah, that's like, that album's got like Walker Texas Ranger, Blank Blank, 21.
yeah.
That shit is hard too.
Yeah,
That shit is hard too. Those features with Stunner for Vegas, those shit is hard, bro. Bro, that shit is hard too. I'm talking.
Like Stunner to baby, like they just got it. They just they just know what's good.
They know what the fuck they doing. I'm talking about even before that. I have to look it up, but the album cover was a black version of Boss Baby. That was the album cover.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
When I listen to Off Top, actually when I listen to the whole shit, he really does switch up his flow when he wants to. But now that like he's broken that barrier, like he's like, you know, mainstream or whatever, if you want to call it that, he's like, I know it works. It's gonna hit every time. I don't really. You don't gotta work that hard. I feel like that's what people don't like understand.
Those sessions from those sessions from a producer standpoint take like 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like old Migos level stuff was like 45 minutes. song. Next 45 minutes, song. They do like an album in a day. Like Uzi's got thousands of songs because like once you catch that and you're good enough to be able to replicate it in a kind of new way but the same every time, that's when it's gonna smack. When Migos figured out about triplets, that's when it's
Yeah.
yeah, like they mastered it with Versace, and then they were just like, oh yeah,
Rapid
9,000
fire.
Yeah,
Rapid
just
fire. Yo, they
Also, I
started
do-
busting out songs like it was no tomorrow. They were busting out songs like every day was their last day, bro. There's like,
Oh yeah, that was the DJ Durrell interview where he was like, "No, we do songs in like 45 minutes, easy, full song, all three of them." They like put them in they put them in a line, like they got Offset, Takeoff, Quavo, and they just like all sit like on the same mic, and they just go down the line, and it's like, okay, who's gonna do the hook, and they just go boom, done, and then the producer just copies it over to all of the hooks, and then like Offset, Takeoff, or they'll just go crazy in the middle of it, and it's like song's done, and they're like, next one, they're still sitting there.
it's nothing. It's
Yeah,
nothing.
like, yeah. And they know how to record too. I think that's what a lot of people miss. Like some of the people that really be churning out songs like that, even if you don't think they do, like these guys all have home studios
Mm-hmm.
and stuff gets sent around a lot more than I think people know. It moves around a lot because like the ideal vision of like a studio session, right, is like you go in, the artist goes in, you record the artist, you do it. Maybe if depending on who you're with, it gets sent to the label analyzes, you know, they do that stuff. But really it's like Quavo records by himself, he tracks by himself, does like a pre-mix, sends it off to the mix engineer that's assigned by QC, sends it off to the mastering house that's assigned by QC. It all gets compiled until they're ready for an album. And all three of them are just loading songs into this database. That's really how like the industry stuff is done.
See, that's fire.
Yeah, because that workflow is so seamless. Everything is outsourced.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's
when I do
true.
someone
That's like
let me send vocals to.
that's like if I just went out one day and did a photo shoot, and snapped like 100 pictures, and just sent that shit off to somebody, and then you just sit there, just wait it, just wait.
Yeah. But in the meantime, you're getting updates. Like they know everything that's going on with their stuff. They're also not as blind as people think. Like they know enough to be where they're at, to be smart about.
Yeah, they're not no
They
dummy.
have their favorite mixers. They have their favorite mastering houses.
They know who to send it to or what to do to drop some fire.
Yeah, if they want it on Billboard, they'll call Murda. They'll call Murda. And it's good to like some of the beat makers also start mixing, because I know a lot of beat makers that, not to like shit on it, but they can't mix, and they know they can't mix.
Yeah.
So they send it to a guy that can mix the beat for them.
Well, that's what you do.
Yeah. So, but like Murda just did beats, and then when he had to start recording people to sell those beats, he also learned how to mix and also learned how to master. Like to be multifaceted like that is good, because like if I'm in the session, I can have your song mixed and mastered like within the hour, or even faster sometimes, depending on how much like they're doing, how many effects they want, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's like with a lot of things though. You gotta learn how to like wear many hats. You gotta be a man of many talents. You gotta be a jack of all trades in some instances.
Yeah.
That's sort of like you play the guitar, and like weren't you like learning how to play the piano?
Yeah. I'm a piano like minor here.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, say someone comes in and they're rapping, or like they want to like sing, and they want like a melodic beat. You could do that. You don't gotta like put nobody else's hand in it. Cause you know what's crazy too, at the end of the day, it's sort of like with any job or whatever, right? It's sort of like there's a pot of money, right? And then everybody's like taking their hand from it. So there's like you, the producer, right? Then there's the rapper. Then there's the mixer. Then there's whoever's, you know, playing the instrument. Too many people got
a contract to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, everyone's got a contract to be there. Everyone's got their own separate manager. Everybody is completely independent. Just the label knows who to choose. They know who to call.
Yeah. That's why you gotta learn how to, like, wear many hats, because you don't want everybody, having a slice of your cash. You don't want everybody having a piece of the loot.
Yeah, exactly. But that's how it is. Like once you get to that point, everybody's got. As soon as you get signed, everyone's got their hand.
No, what about Pharrell? When Pharrell came out, he sings all his own shit. He writes his own shit. He owns his masters. He gets all those checks. He gets the producer check, the beat check, he the writer check, singer check
by himself. Yeah.
And it's crazy too. And he's done it under like 3 different names or 2. Because I know he was Nerd back in the day. Then he went by his name. Nerd was a different nigga. I can't lie. Nerd was a different nigga. When him and Jay-Z got together, fire. That was a different nigga. When Pharrell came out, I think he's gone on like 3 different names. Because I remember somebody said someone's name before, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And he's like, oh no, that's Pharrell. I was like, he's got another one. That's sort of like Slim Shady too. Like when he started calling himself Eminem. When I was younger, I really had no idea that those are the same nigga, bro.
Yeah. I
had no idea at all.
Oh no, it'll probably surprise a lot of people, but I didn't listen to rap really. When I started listening to rap, I didn't listen to rap until 8th grade.
Yeah.
I only listened to rock. Aerosmith, Motley Crue, Van Halen, Bon Jovi, those were my guys. And I try to pull a lot of that stuff in now that I know what I'm doing, because at first you can't just go all in like a lot of people think. Just take exactly what you hear and put it in, but you gotta learn how to do stuff first. And then once I learned how to do stuff, I was like, oh, this chord progression from I did one with Without You by Motley Crue. You just pitch it differently, do some inversions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can pull these old classic rock chord progressions and lay them in. This progression, that's Numbers by A Boogie.
Really? Oh yeah, it is.
It just goes down the scale to 5, and then it comes back. And geniuses have figured this stuff out. They know the formula. You know that. And same chord, same exact chords. They know what they're doing. And when you go,
isn't that like a 1-4-5-1, right?
When you go, what are you in? You're a D flat minor. Well, you're just going 1, and then this is really 7. They're using that 5/7. Pretty much everything's mounted around 1-4-5.
Because I know you can use 7 or you can use 4.
Yeah, and a lot of them some of them be tripping people up. I kind of forget what I said about it, but it was Check West was his song.
Mobamba?
That I go. There was a Reddit thread that everybody was debating about what key it was in and what function these chords had, because it's so chromatic sounding. But when you actually look at it, it's secondary chord substitution. I forget if it's the it's that B to F that creates a tritone. That B is a secondary chord substitution. And nobody realized.
And that's what's crazy too.
Everybody was debating about what key it was in.
No, see, that's what's crazy too, that people don't understand when it comes down to music and mixing and making beats and shit. There's so much more to it Then a nigga just walking up to like this keyboard or whatever, this like half size
they're thinking
keyboard.
about it before they get there. They know what they want before they
Mm-hmm.
sit down. Yeah.
People think that they just come up and they just hit the keys randomly and they're like, oh wow, that sounded good. No, there's like recipes to this shit.
Oh yeah, 'cause,
There's like
Taken-
bass lines
it all
to this
started
shit.
with Take a Day Trip tweeted about like what it was, and Mike Dean commented on it, and he was like, yes, I use this like secret sauce chord formula for like a lot of Travis's stuff. He was like, listen to 90210. He was like, I use that tritone to build tension. And like YYZ by The Who, I think it's The Who, don't quote me on that, it might not be The Who. I kind of forgot, but YYZ it's like starts off with a tritone, and all it does is build that flavor. But they know that, they've studied this. The people that write these loops and melodies have studied this to no end.
That's why I think it's so funny.
How long they've been doing it, they just know.
That's why I think it's so funny, like with casual listeners or like people who just like look at things and they're just like, oh, that's cool, and they just move on. I'm like, you don't know.
But that sounds good.
Yeah, like you don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. You have no clue. You were set up to
Only
fuck
one
with
by
this.
Kanye, Paul McCartney. A lot of people don't know it's Paul McCartney on the keys.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul McCartney, after Kanye stops, there's like a minute and 20 or 30 stretch of just like Fender Rhodes solo. Most beautiful thing. If you haven't actually listened to that part up to the end, listen to it. And Paul McCartney's a music theory genius.
Exactly.
He's written some of the best songs of all time. Like the best, he's laid the ground for so much stuff. And when you gotta have somebody like that knows. And that's why I like that, because I almost felt like doing classical guitar was a mistake, because I love guitar so much and I've been doing it like literally my entire life. And that's what I like thought that I was gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like now that when I decided to change, I was like, okay, so now I have all this knowledge of like how tonal harmony works and like how to be good at writing stuff like that. And now it's like I can take that to Tennessee with me, and like for all the mix engineers that are in the studio, you know, music theory doesn't come with a lot of this. Like a lot of people say don't even learn music theory.
And that's so wrong.
You're not gonna hit a Billboard if you don't know even a little bit. You gotta know at least intervals. You have to.
You'll never hit a Billboard, and you'll never get any more than the following you have now. Because listen, like, you gotta conform to that. You feel me? You've gotta know. You feel me? There's only but so much you can do winging it. There's only but so much you can do.
You know what the safety is that I've kind of realized? They specialize in drums.
Mm-hmm.
That's code for my melodies aren't super great.
Mm-hmm.
I can do it, but like a lot of people focus on drums and then leave the loops to like Looperman. And granted, I use Looperman. Like when I'm making beats like 15 minutes, I put myself on a schedule. Like I'm on Looperman all day.
Mm-hmm.
And like write counter melodies to it or flip it really fast or something like that. But there's a special skill to being able to know how that loop is made, even if you use it. Like using loops should not be frowned upon as long as you know what's going on in the loop.
Exactly. It's all about like the knowledge that you like go into it with. It's all about like the intention. It's one thing if you just made it and then it's like whatever and you just like have no idea, because then you'll never be able to do it again. But if you have the knowledge beforehand, you can do that consistently and do it well.
Yeah. Because like Nick Mira, he was like, I use Looperman all the time.
Yeah.
But who knows what's going on? But like Mike Dean writes everything by himself. And that's like where I want to be. Like I want to, shy away from, taking platforms that other people have made and like expanding off it, or just adding drums and finalizing the beat. Like what I really love doing is sitting down and like I got my keyboard or like I have an analog synth or something like that, and just be like I want to feel things happen.
Yeah.
And that puts you in a part of the music that, just using loops really doesn't cut.
Because,
And that's what makes the feeling of the songs. Like Childish Gambino, his producer, I forget his name. I think he's a Norwegian fellow, I think. But he's got like long blonde hair. You'll see him if you look up his producer. He does everything. He did Redbone, Feels Like Summer, all those hits. He sits down and he writes like what I read, like when I play rock music. He writes like all the lyrics are out, and then there's chords above every single one, like F, G, A.
Like a jazz sheet music.
Yeah, he literally scribbles things out like that, and like he'll break out staff paper and like write out the melody. Like
That's hard.
Because then like when you listen to Feels Like Summer, you can't buy that loop. You can't buy that.
Hell no.
Feel that loop when you make it.
You gotta know like what's unique and what's not, and like what's quality and what's not. Because if you just bust the shit out and then you're just hoping for the best, like you're gonna be shot out of luck.
Yeah, there's also a line between knowing what it is and then knowing how to apply it.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I think people miss when they do start learning music theory. Is, you know, once you know everything, you kind of, or know like enough, you're kind of restricted by the rules that you've learned.
Mm-hmm.
You have to learn how to apply those rules first, and then you have to learn how to break them too.
Because you gotta break it within the context of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna look like a fool for going outside those lines.
Oh yeah, because like if you just start throwing chords down, you're like, oh well, it's all in the key of D minor, and then you're like D minor, C major. Okay, you've got a solid foundation. Now you went to B. There's something that you have to do after B to make it sound good, because now you've hit like a chord that isn't really there. You're supposed to go to B flat. You've hit like an in between. That's where like
So let me give you the rundown for all the people that are watching that like don't know music theory, because me and Chris have taken music theory for a long time. Basically, in layman's terms, right? How chords work. What he's talking about is the chord that you start on may be the root, or you know, the 1 to 2, or like that's your main character. Let's look at it like that's the show, right? That is your main character, and throughout the show, which is the song, you're looking at all these other side characters, but then there's a point where you have to return back to the main story. So you have to return back to that main sound. You feel me? You can't just keep going down chords forever just because they technically fit the key of the song, or they fit what's going on. You have to return back. You have to return back in a way that makes sense. What is it like? There's certain notes, right, that you play. Like if you go ba, da, da, and like you leave it there.
Yeah,
that's not resolved.
1 to 5 and stop. Like you're not Bach. Like you gotta go somewhere next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine you're just sitting there, and then like, you know, whatever.
Like,
I'm not a singer, right? But you have to return back. Oh, you have a guitar, bro.
Yeah. Where it comes in is like, okay, so I've got my minor 1 chord, and it's like I can go down or but that has to be like, there's certain things that you have to do when you're like in minor, and that's what creates the feeling. Because I mean, if I just like go easy and pick C,
you see that second to last chord? If you leave it hanging,
now you've done something. That's where it happens. Because if you just go, now you have to figure out how to get back here.
Exactly.
That takes some time until you're really used to it.
You can't just go out here all willy-nilly shooting shots. You feel me? You can't just be like winging it. You can't.
There's no spray and pray unless you play jazz.
Yeah, spray and pray. There is no spray and pray in this shit.
And you've got to know it. And the beats that you're listening to in the background are the formula.
That's like when we used to do solos and shit in jazz. There's a reason why. I'm sorry for anyone that's listening to this that knows us and like is from high school or whatever. There's a reason why some of y'all were trash at your solos. You feel me? Y'all were just walking out here, just throwing out notes.
Y'all had like half of it. I mean, granted, we were in high school,
Yeah.
but like we all knew kind of half of what we were doing. We didn't know the whole thing, but like us, like we kind of knew.
We knew the game.
We were pretty much there.
Oh, and Bree said in the chat. But like, there's a reason why like, oh, all those things sound like trash. People may think that you're just like not good at the instrument you play. That's not the case. You could be good, but you just don't have an understanding of what you are actually playing, and that's why it probably didn't sound good.
It's like shredders. In the rock scene, it's like shredders.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I can run a minor pentatonic with all of the like extensions on it that go all the way up the neck, and I can do it really fast. And it's like, okay, solid. Now write me some chords that fit that, and they'll go, what are you talking about?
I have no clue.
This is what I got. And it's like, yeah, you're not gonna write a riff like that.
Exactly, because to casual like listeners, they can fuck with that, but you ain't gonna get signed to nobody. You ain't gonna get no new job.
Yeah.
Nobody that's like in the industry is gonna fuck with that.
Yeah, because it's like some people that don't even know theory sometimes can just feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But like we're all like that. You're born with that. You're born with the knowledge of, okay, this, when you just pick up an instrument and can immediately make something sound good, but it's kind of like blind playing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, the people that add the knowledge to it behind it are insane. When they have that talent and then back it, when they can shred it and then they go, okay, but what scale is that? And they're like, oh, I'm playing a Turkish minor scale. Oh, I'm playing a harmonic minor scale.
That's what blows your fucking mind.
That's how you know that that's who it is. Like Eddie Van Halen couldn't read music, but man, did he know how to make chords flow, and he could feel it so good and pull it off so well. Rest in peace. But
you know what's crazy to me? It's crazy to me, like,
has to figure it out.
Yeah, I said, you know what's crazy to me? It's crazy that people like don't know. Like when they're making something and they don't know it sounds like shit. Like I hate to like say it that way, but it's crazy because like for us, we're on the other side, right? Looking
Everyone's
in.
at a different stage.
Yeah.
Everyone's at a different part of it.
Yeah.
Like, of course, we can listen to somebody making trash beats and be like, "Ooh," but for them, that's like the hottest thing they've made so far.
And that's why I said, well, that's what's crazy for me.
You can always do better.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that like there's always like there's a cap, like the best you could do. I'm just saying like it's crazy to me that like some people don't feel it. Not just knowing about the music. It's crazy that some people don't feel like that it's something is wrong, but they think it's okay, like when it's not.
Like in my early beats, like in the first ones that I sent you, like 2, 3, 13, like those, like I knew that I had something, but like at the same time I was self-aware enough, like because my background is guitar. Mm-hmm. So like I had the self-awareness just of hearing so much music to be like, there's still something wrong. And like it took me until like beat probably like in the hundreds to figure it out and be like, oh, that was my problem the entire time. Like,
yeah, like it's a grind.
Like the light bulb goes off and you're like, oh, just don't do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's gotta be a point where you do a whole 180.
You really have to think about it when you're doing it or you don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, but it's just crazy because I don't know. For me, I've always just felt what's good and what's not, what's quality, what's not. So it's like sometimes it's just like when someone makes something that's like not that I say that like it has to be the best, but like when it's like bad, like when people make things that are like actually bad, I don't know how they get away with it.
Well, a lot of people have the idea, like I won't name anybody just to like not say anything, but
yeah,
I know beat makers that have got it. Like they can make the loop, they can make good like drum patterns, like decent even, like to the point that like it could pop. But the mix side of it comes in with like you use the wrong drum sound, you use the wrong piano tone, and
Mhm.
it's my job to balance that out. So like what I've done sometimes if someone sends me a beat, like I'll just replicate the drums with different sounds, or if they have good sounds, I'll just like EQ it a lot
Mhm.
and transform the drums, because like all the mixer's job is make it sound good. But if you start off with something so bad sounding but good patterns that we can't work with, because we work on a sonic level,
Mhm.
like we don't work on the producer level of like where you are like feeling it, like we just know the number,
It's
we
more
know how
technicality.
we know how it's supposed to be, and if it's not that way, then we didn't do our job right. If the vocals aren't crisp, you need to do your job right.
Mhm. For you guys, it's not more so as you can't look at it too artistically. You gotta look at it more like technically.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
why like some of Luke's sessions, he'll be like, "Wait, you not feeling it?" And I'll be like, "No, I'm feeling it. I'm just not listening to it yet." There's a
I
difference
haven't had the
between
luxury of getting to that point
like
yet.
when I sit back and like think, and I'm like, okay, the mix is good. Let me hear how everything blends. That's when I switch role from like mix engineer to producer.
Mhm.
And then when it's to the mastering phase, oh, you gotta lock in. I don't talk during the mastering phase.
Yeah, I feel you. And I get you with
Yeah.
that. Because, hold on, super juice. Sometimes there always does have to be like that one voice of like, not reason, but like their heart isn't in it. It's sort of like you're looking at it like
But
without.
that's why we need everybody to have their hand in the pie. Because if it's left up to one guy,
Shit.
it's gonna be shit. If it's left up to one guy and nobody else touches it, it's gonna be bad.
Mhm.
Unless they're ridiculous. Unless it's like disgusting people like Mike Dean,
Mhm.
Travis, Kanye, that do that stuff all by themselves. Yeah. Well, like Kanye, Mike, and Travis are all connected because Mike does all their stuff.
Mhm.
But like Travis will make the beat, or like Mike will make the beat, or they'll outsource it to somebody and buy a beat. But then like Mike will lock in. Like I try to model like a lot of the stuff that I do. Not like I'm a dick rider or anything, but like I try to lock into like what he does, because he does it so well.
Yeah.
And his focus is just on those little things, and that's what made me want to specialize in mixing, because like he's played piano like since he was like classical piano since he was young, but then like learning the synthesizers and all that, yeah, amazing guy.
Well,
But
so on that topic, right?
when he mixes, it is different.
Right. So on that topic, right? Who you really get like, your inspiration from? You feel me?
Mike.
Because like
Mike.
easy.
So, Mike Dean.
But
That's my
like,
go.
I don't know. I think maybe I asked the question wrong. It's more like who you get inspiration from and who started you in the game. Because there had to be something that happened that made you do a whole 180. Because all my life knowing you big guitar guy, and then it seems like a flip switched in your life, and now you're like really in the game.
It was Travis, Kanye, and Mike Dean. That's who.
The big three.
It was those three guys that changed my entire view on how music should be,
What happened?
how rap should be, how everything should be. When I listened to Owl Pharaoh, that changed my life. That changed everything. When I listened to Cruisin' USA, that's before Owl Pharaoh. That's like 2010 or 11 Travis, with like, I forget the guy that he was working with. Man, we don't see that guy anymore. But that was like a collab album. When I heard that stuff, that changed it, because like I knew who like Ray Shremmer, Migos, Travis, I knew who they all were.
He was
But
a big Strum Life boy back in the day.
Yeah, they got me into rap. It was like I got into rap at the era of like March Madness, Best Friend, No Type, like Blase, like that was my shit. That was That was
I remember. Okay, for people who don't know, bro, I remember this nigga walking around talking about shrimp life with a pineapple on his shoulder, talking about
with the pineapple. I started dressing like him, started acting like him.
that shit. But it be like that, bro. You really like.
But you love it so much, you embody it, and it's like.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard Cruising USA and Owl Pharaoh, like my little studio project that I make for people that are interested in the studio is what I send them, is like a reference of how crazy it can get. Because it's like, if you want to like lock in with me like Luke does or like Omsky did, like you gotta know like the boundaries of it, because we could make something insane, or we could make an industry banger. It's whatever you want. And I'm at the point now where I don't really ask anymore. I just kind of feel it out, unless we're starting from a blank slate. Like I was with a kid that goes here the other night, and he's a bass player, and like we were starting from a blank slate. And I won't lie, I was missing. Like some of the stuff that I was playing like wasn't really what he was going for, and I wasn't really sure what he was going for. So I broke it down. I was like, all right, what do you want to make then? Because it's just my job to do, what he wants exactly. I like, we're supposed to bring that vision for the artist.
Yeah, sometimes too.
It's hard to figure out sometimes, especially like when you don't really like know who it is. You have no frame of reference of like what they do. But I've gotten a lot better at it. That was a big problem in some of my first studio sessions. A lot of producers find that problem.
Because it's sometimes like if you don't know the person personally, right, or you don't know like anything about them, it's hard to know like how they tick, like what makes them do good, what makes them do bad, what's their inspirations, what makes them, when you just don't know them. I mean, like there's no way to like, it's trial and error at that point. You shooting and you're hoping you get something,
Because like great help is like when I went in the studio with Sharel, and he goes, all right, so this is what Omsky's been doing. He knew immediately. He was like, I'm going to show you what he's been doing. And he showed me some of the craziest shit of like a new artist that I've heard in a long time. Some of that crazy like bangers, Billboard hits. And he was like, this is what he's been doing. And he's like on a pattern of doing this type of thing. And I was like, bet. I can make it sound like that. So I made it sound like that. Now it's going to be the feature track on his next album.
See, that's how you got to do it. And the thing is too, he came in with like a professional mindset. He came in about his shit.
Sharel did, but like the artists, some of these artists that I've seen.
Oh nah.
Party mode. Like he'll go missing for like 30 minutes. And it's like I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, I'm on the clock. Where the fuck did the artist go? He's upstairs. Like some of them go to like bang or like whatever. But that's like cool, because then me and the producer are like, okay, while he's out doing that, we can figure it out. Then when he comes back, everything is set.
See, what's crazy too? It don't even matter because you getting paid.
Yeah.
You getting paid regardless.
At the same time too, like if I'm sitting for too long and I'm on the clock and it's like, oh, I didn't even do like shit yet, and it's been like 2 hours, I'm like, yeah, I always let them know. I'm like, you do know that I'm like still on the clock, right? Like I've been on the clock for 2 hours and I haven't touched the faders. Like I've been sitting here eating hot Cheetos, but like that's what you go through sometimes. Like a lot of more often than not, the artist does not show up to the studio session, and you're sitting there waiting, and like. I used to put up with that, but now I charge half up front.
That's what you gotta do.
Yeah, I do half up front as a security, because like they just didn't show up. It's like you book the time and like I'd have the place, like I lay everything out, I had the mics all set up, and then I'd be sitting there and I'd just be like listening to Travis, chilling, and it's like, oh man, I just waited all this time and did all this work. Like there's a balance between like work and fun. Like I think I've found now,
because you gotta demand respect from certain people. You gotta demand like a certain type of work ethic from certain people. Like when I used to, before this COVID shit, right, there's a lot of times when you pull up on a model or just anyone who wants their picture taken, they talking too much. You know, I'm telling them to pose a certain type of way, and they would do something different. I'm like, listen, my job is to make you look good.
Yeah.
My job is to like do my best to support your image. So if you keep telling me what to do, it's not gonna come out how you want it to. And it's the same thing like with your studio sessions and like all these artists. I'm here to make you sound good. I'm here doing something for you. If you don't show up with that I'm here to grind attitude, shit, it's gonna come out shitty. And it's not my fault, it's yours.
I remember my first studio session, because like my first studio sessions were with KJ. Those were my first ones in the Mac lab in the high school. And then like once I like started working with Luke, we have that artistic flow where we can just bounce ideas and everything works every time. And we just know what each other wants, we know what we want to hear, and we get stuff done really efficiently. But then like when I came to school, and like I remember my first like industry session, guy paid in full up front, like 3 hours blocked out. He brought like 2 other guys with him just to like for sounding boards, and we locked in for like 3 hours. And I swear I didn't say one word, because it's like at that point you're just there to do your job. Like when you're not really, you're still being artistic in like your fashion, like behind the scenes, but like you're not bouncing ideas off because it's up to the artist at that point.
Yeah, but the thing is too, how I feel, I'm no producer, so I like, this is really just me looking on the outside. But I feel like, you know, you can be a bit more pushy, because a lot of people are open to like new ideas and stuff. You can like be like, hey,
do stuff now. I just do it. I don't ask. I just do it. And if they're like, nah, that was whack, I'll take it off. Like, no hard feelings. But like, if I feel like it could use it and I try it and they like it, I didn't even need to ask, because maybe if I asked, it would have fucked it up.
Oh, you're right.
Because if you just hear the magic, because you can describe it to somebody. Like I say this all the time. Like I work at Guitar Center, and it's like when I'm telling, like people ask about studio monitors all the time, because everyone builds a studio. Everyone's building studios, and like they're asking about monitors, and like, oh well, is this better? Oh, I hear KRKs are good. I hear Yamahas are good, and I'm like, I'll tell you my preference, but it's not going to mean anything unless like I take you into the studio room and we go listen to it. And that's the same principle that I use like tracking people and mixing. Do it. Because like you can talk about it all day, but it's just going to waste a lot of time because you're not actually experiencing it. So if I break down like this reverb that I want to put on this guy for him, it's going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it's like, well, if I just put the reverb on there and he says, what's that? Take that off. Then I know he doesn't want it.
I get that. Because they're ignorant to it.
Yeah.
They don't really know about that. They don't know nothing about that.
It's like people love, no shots, people love KRK speakers, and then you play them next to HS8s and you're like,
how does it even compare?
One thing's been described really well, but the other thing sounds better, but it's not described as much.
I get that. So then, like, how do you choose who you like collab with, and like who are you trying to collab with right now? Because I mean, like, I don't really get to see a lot of like you working with other people, so I really don't know. You know?
Anybody, any genre, anything. Just, it's such good experience to be able to do stuff like that. Like go in, record like a country song, and then like the next day go do like a guy that wants to sound like a boogie.
How do you choose? You know, like, do you choose who?
I just do them all.
Because I mean, like is there like a trap?
All the sessions.
So I'm gonna say, like, is it like there's like a rap week, and then like a country week, and then like,
oh no, it'll be like me and that kid here, we were doing like a I couldn't even describe it. I don't know what it was, but it's fucking great. but it's different. It's not rap at all. It's like more rock sided. But then like the day before that is like when I was in like a session just mixing. Like I'll literally just go day to day, like sleep 2 hours, wake up and do a completely different thing.
So how do people like normally get in contact with you? Do they hear their boy and then like they want you to do this shit? Do you like reach out to people? Do they reach out to you? What's the deal?
No, I let people reach out to me. I don't reach out as much as I should, and I'm working on with a manager for that. Because I'm not good at that stuff, honestly. That's where you start outsourcing things, when you find the fault.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, someone else should handle this. And placements come from that sort of stuff. But like, I just meet people and build it like that. Like, I like the face-to-face more.
See, I'm a big face-to-face guy too. I feel you.
Managers watching with some cred, hit me up.
No, I feel you. I'm the same type of way. I'm a big face-to-face guy. I want to like meet you, know you, because like the internet dilutes a lot of people's personality. It like takes a lot away from them. So like when you're trying to like market yourself or like, you know, just trying to grow, it's kind of hard sometimes because you reach out to somebody and they probably like don't notice the sincerity in your voice, you know, like how much you really want or need this, you know, or like how much you really like are grinding.
Yeah, that face-to-face thing, like I met Sherelle and Omsky by being in Guitar Center at a time when he was in a huge rush to do things and needed some headphones. And I started talking to him about, he was like, I need headphones right now, but I also need good headphones right now. So I was like, okay. So I started like, you know, selling him on this, and then I was like, oh no, he needs this. So then I just started going to like the analytics of stuff, and he was like, you sound like you know what you're talking about. And I was like, yeah, I do. Like, I'm a mix engineer, an audiophile. Like, this is what I enjoy doing. And then he was like, I need a mix engineer tonight. And he was like, let me hear some of your stuff. He was like, I have the artist in the car waiting for me to buy these headphones right now. But like, show me some stuff, and like if it's good, like we'll get you in tonight. So I played The Birds from Hello from the Children of Planet Earth. And he didn't even need to hear another song. He was like, yes. So, and then he brought the artist in to meet me, and it's that face-to-face that I like. Like, I just happened to meet him. And that's turning sorts of other connections as well. Like, I like that.
And those be the strongest ones too.
Yeah, that you meet like that.
Are you dropping any like solo projects? I know you don't like rap anymore or anything like that, but is there any like little collections or like certain things you're working on right now? Because you know you're gonna need stuff to like show people, you know.
I've had the idea for my studio tape for a while and my beat tape for a while, but I just keep evolving and changing my vision so much. Yeah, and that shot, didn't it? I saw that.
Yeah.
But like my vision for what I want is in a place right now where it just changes so much that I can't really lock down to like be at the point where like Metro Boomin did his like concept album. That was crazy. But like he had that vision and he's at that place where he can do that. I don't feel like I'm at the place where I can do that yet. So I just show people things that I've done for other people.
I feel you on that one.
Yeah.
Because you know you gotta have that stockpile.
I have my ego in check very well about where I actually am. Yeah. Because I've got a lot of good stuff, but like I don't feel like it's at a point where I could collect it all yet.
I get you. That's why sometimes you gotta like actively do it. Like for me, a little while back, I did like for the whole summer, I only did pictures in black and white. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I only did pictures in black and white.
Yeah, everything was black and white.
Because, you know, sometimes you gotta work on like that collection and stuff, you feel me? Because say you're gonna do things and you wanna have your hands in like many pot. Like how you said you deal with anyone. Like if anyone wants to record with you, they can come to you. You gotta have country shit to provide for them to show that you know how to do it. You gotta have rap shit. You gotta have singer shit. You gotta have disco or whatever the fuck. You gotta show that you actually know about that type of life. You know?
Yeah, like when they were like questioning like if I was a guitar player, like they were like, oh, he plays guitar. Oh yeah, because there was another guitar player in the room too at one of the sessions I was at, and it was like, oh yeah, and I was already warmed up from like work before that session, so I was just like, and it was like, oh yeah, he knows, and he's a rock guy, and he knows it.
He's about that life.
I'm like, but wait, watch. And then I dropped the beat and hit record and just did the entire song in one take. And they were like, and that's what I like, making people feel like that. Because they were like, that was different. Like when you did it without the beat, like that is like an 80s hair metal solo.
Mm-hmm.
You just laid it over this trap song. Like how'd you make it?
Completely.
I have a lot of knowledge in both of those areas.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's some times, and I'm getting better at it, where you can just find that line, and it's like, this is what I want. Like more of the grunge rap stuff, like Lil Peep stuff. You got to really have your mind in two different places while you're doing it. Like this is still rap, but like this is grungy too, and you got to think like Chris Cornell or something.
Like a melting pot.
Yeah. Like you have to create that in your mind while you're doing it. And you gotta have the right conditions to do that stuff. And until you know what you're doing. Because like I'm like if I'm not in a good mindset before I go into the session, like it's not gonna come out great. I'm still gonna do my job, but I'm not gonna be thinking as artistically. But like when I can think as artistically as I can technically, that's when it flows really well.
No, you're absolutely right. Because, you know, if you go in and you're not like in that mindset, nigga, it might just be some, you know, same old cookie cutter shit. Same old shit that people have heard every single time from someone else before.
But when you want to make something different, I got to make sure I always eat before I go into the studio. I make sure I'm dressed well. I have to be in the perfect mindset. I have to have a full stomach. I need to eat. Like
you know what it is? You're eliminating distractions.
Exactly. Because if I'm like, oh man, I'm hungry, and I'm like in the middle of a master, I'm like, fuck, like I can't think now.
You don't give a fuck about that master no more.
Yeah,
all you
like,
care
man,
about is the food. What you about to get from Mickey D's in like 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about my order from GoPuff. Like,
yeah, you gotta have your mind like undistracted from other shit so you can focus on like the artistic shit you're trying to do right now.
Oh yeah, I always make sure, because like, man, people show up to the studio unshowered, like haven't been out of bed in 3 days and just made it into the studio.
People pull up to the studio.
It's like, boy.
Whack. They pull up to the studio like fucked up, my nigga.
Oh yeah. I had a session when I was doing mobile sessions before quarantine hit. I was in actually this building. I was like down the hall, no, I was actually directly across the hall, and I went in, and he was so drunk, but like he was standing up with the mic, and like is a big man. He's like 6'7", like fat guy, and so he's a big man. Like when he stands next to me, like I'm a little scared, like I'm intimidated.
Yeah.
And so he's drunk, so he starts jumping around. It's like a dog that doesn't know how big he is, and he jumps on your lap. So he's like doing all this jumping around, like with the mic in his hand. I'm just sitting there like, holy shit. I'm like, don't drop the mic. Like,
these shit ain't cheap.
I was like, just make sure you're good. And he like mid-recording, mid-take, like fell over and passed out. Mid-take. Like, song was scrolling. I was just sitting back like this, and I like looked down at something for a second, and then I just see out the corner of my eye, just whoa, like a tower fall. It just went down, and like his drink spilled all over the place, and I was just like, So his boy was a rapper, so he got up and finished the session, and then it became a collab song. But
That's fucking jokes.
he had the blunt in his hand, and like he's got it with the mic and the thing, and I'm like, man, he's blowing smoke like directly onto my mic, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, but it's my job. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna record. It's like 5 a.m. I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm getting paid, and I'm gonna do it good for him, regardless of how fucked up he is.
Yeah.
And I remember I had my interface sitting there, like my rack mount interface that I carry with me, and he forgot to ash the joint, and he was shooting the mic up and down, and I saw the ash fall off. And I swear to God, it was in slow motion, and it went down and just right on the top of the interface, and I just went, damn, bro. And I wanted to say something so bad. I was like, I'm out of here. Like he ashed on my keyboard on accident, and I was like, bro, you know.
You gotta go.
But I didn't, because that's what you put up with sometimes, and it's like, I mean, movie, bow, like, sure.
Yeah, but he violated though.
Like have fun, I guess. Like he just literally stayed on the floor, and his boy like finished the song for him.
I would have been geeking, nigga, if I saw some shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Have you looked at that rough draft for the double XL freshman?
Chef G.
Big Chef?
Chef G.
Listen, I'm on the same boat, nigga. Who's seen him? The only person that comes close is probably like Pooh Shiesty. Maybe.
That's what I was gonna. Pooh or 42. 42 Doug might show something out. And when I gotta hear that freestyle, because I know that Chef G can do it, because he freestyles every song pretty much.
Yeah.
But
like what is it? Me and this one kid were having an argument about like Chef G.
Stitched together sometimes.
Huh?
Pooh stuff sounds stitched together sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you ever listen to a song and you can like I pick up on it because like mix engineer ear things, but it's
I don't fuck with Pooh like that. Cause he sounds like
I can hear like line for because I got a boy that loves Pooh, and I can like, hear line for line. Like there's a little cut, even when it's made to sound like supernatural and like he just went through the bar. Like I can hear he said 4 words and stopped, 4 words and stopped. 8
we gotta hear that freestyle. We gotta hear that freestyle.
Yeah, because like they stop and think. Like one of the most recent sessions that I had, it was like bar, stop and think. Then the whole room would come up with a bar, and like everyone would write the song, and then he would spit it, and then he'd be like, "All right, guys, next bar." And like that's how a lot of industry stuff is pieced together. There's tons of jump cuts in Lil Baby stuff, tons of jump cuts in the Baby stuff. Both of the Babies do it a lot. You can think just about most anybody. Travis does it a lot, and like his newer stuff, his older stuff was like do the whole verse one shot. But like when you really got to get crafty with it and think about it, a lot of good stuff comes out like that. You got to cover it up really well though, and that's what I do. I cover it up really well.
Yeah, I went to the studio. I was at
Plug Studios.
Yeah, and I know what you're talking about. He didn't do that jump cut shit, but he tried it at first. I saw when they tried it, and they didn't fuck with it. So
that's what most producers expect to have to do.
Yeah. Hold on. Somebody said something in the chat.
I've gone through 300 takes in sessions.
Luke said, "What's up?"
Yeah. But
like I was listening to a lot of Push Icy shit. He just sounds like every other nigga. Like he don't bring nothing new to the table. Like somebody was like, "Oh, he's like dumb hard. He's dumb crazy." I'm like, huh?
You know what makes those guys unique though? Their hook writing ability. Because like you can sound like everybody else, you can have the same voice, you can rap on the same beats, but if you know how to just say it differently, that's what'll certify you.
But that's my thing. He don't say nothing differently.
Got no fight on the security in the club. Like that flow for the hook.
Nah, bro. Don't jack that. Who else sounds just like that? Fucking Six Santana. That nigga sound just like that.
Yeah, but it's Pusha's. And he got his following, and he's got his reputation for what he does, and he does it fucking really well.
Mm.
So, well, every artist, you know, everybody looks at it like everybody can say whoever's trash. Like, I'd be offended, but I can hear somebody out if they're like Travis is trash because it's like, oh, that's not your taste. But it's like you gotta understand, like, outside of like everybody's opinions on what's going on in music, everybody's got their place. Like so many people say Drake is garbage, but like look at the numbers though, and it's like if Pooh was really garbage, like people are like, nah, he's trash, and I know people that say that, but it's like, but he wouldn't be wearing diamond necklaces if he was trash. Like everybody has their spot in the industry.
Yeah, like I see what you're saying, and especially about that Drake shit. But I feel like what people's problem with Drake is, we know now he doesn't write his own shit, and the thing is,
no one does.
But the thing is, right? No one does.
95% don't. Look at any hit song that you can think of right now. Go on like whatever label they're under and like look at song credits, or even like Wikipedia has them. Spotify has it like built into their thing where you can see credits. Look at it, so you'll see like performed by, and then you'll see produced by, but then you see written by. And like Sicko Mode has a list of writers longer than any song I've ever seen. There's like 12 or 13 people that wrote that song.
But look who's on that. Look who's on that. That's Drake and Travis.
Yeah, but like you see their names in there for like writing their verses, but then you see well, of course you see the people that make the samples in the writers list. You see the instrumentalists sometimes in the written by. Mike Dean doesn't put himself in it, so like you never see him on Travis's stuff, even though he does all of it. But like when you go in, you see like Rick Rubin on like a lot of Kanye stuff, and when you look up Rick Rubin, he's a lyricist. Like if you go into these long lists, you're gonna find in these hit songs like many lyricists.
Then I'm gonna do my homework. I'm gonna do my homework to look into that.
Yeah.
Because that's
Definitely.
surprising to me. That there's so many people that just got so much shit being written for them.
Like in it, like a lot of industry people that like industry plants. A lot of industry plants are just fed stuff. Like they don't bring anything, like zero. Like some of these contracts for industry plants, it's like, here's the lyrics, here's the beat. We got you a session with the producer. Say this in exactly this way. Do it. Make us money.
Damn. That's tragic.
It is tragic. But those songs be coming out fire because those lyricists go to college for this shit. They do this shit their entire lives. They're philosophers. They can say anything in 15,000 different ways. Like, they bring it, like, these guys that are lyricists for labels are geniuses. Like, they literally bring in teams of geniuses to make hit songs, and they do it.
All right, bro. I feel you. All right, so we're coming up on the hour 30 mark, or we passed it already. So my final question is always what I ask. What are you going to do in the future? What are your views? What are your aspirations? What are you looking to do? What's going on?
I want to be the best, most sought after mix engineer on the planet. Ambitious, but that's the aim. And I'm driving every day to get myself there.
All right, Mr. Ambitious. So how you finna do that? How you gonna do that?
Everyday slave hours, like between just listening to mixes of like other stuff, analyzing, playing stuff out, you know, in practice, like I download stems of like random people's stuff on Reddit and just mix, like go between genres and be like, okay, I'm gonna mix dubstep today, and I go on Reddit and find like someone's dubstep stems and mix it. Like it's just practice, and I can't wait to get to my next school because then like I do it every day now, but it's gonna become my life every day. Like I have other responsibilities I have to see after now, but once I'm down there is when I can really lock into it. And at least if I don't get there, like most sought after on the planet, at least I want to be content with myself that I'm really fucking good at what I do. Because right now, like I still see, like my brain, I still see faults in what I do, and I always will.
You see where you lack. No, that's good though. That's good to see where you don't excel. It's good to see where you fucked up. Because if you can't see where you fucked up, then you'll never make improvements.
Yeah.
All right.
Listening back, taking care of business, doing it the best that I can every time, and it gets better every time.
Hey, there we go. All right, with that, on my hot girls, my Treesh boys, we're gonna be signing off now. We're gonna take our last sips.
Almost done with the bottle. Agua.
Amy kills it. I can't kill it. All right, with that, all my niggas out there, all my family out there, be safe, be easy, safety to everybody, be easy, be the best at what you're doing. Be true to yourself and don't ever let anybody change who you are or make you feel like you gotta be different in no type of way. And with that, we finna sign off.